Call your case in just a minute. Which case are you here on? What case are you here on?
Brianna Dale.
All right, be just a minute. Are you Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We call your case and you come up to one of those two tables. Calling case of Maple Grove Manufactured Home Community versus Gary Bezdesky. This is file 21-23306LT. Would the attorney for plaintiff please identify himself for the record?
Afternoon, Your Honor. Andrew Thompson on behalf of Maple Grove. I would like to note for the record that my client is attempting to log in, but he's having some computer difficulties.
Okay.
If it's at all possible, I think it might be better if we could adjourn this case briefly just to let the other cases be heard in the hopes that he can get his connection in properly.
Certainly. We'll recall the case in just a few moments.
Thank you very much.
Calling the case of Alliance Property Management versus Joseph Josling Jr. This is file 21-23284LT. Counsel for the plaintiff, please identify yourself for the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Phillips on behalf of Alliance Property Management.
All right. Do we have Mr. Josling with us this afternoon?
It doesn't appear.
Okay, that doesn't appear either, but sometimes in the waiting rooms that we can't see, but Katrina can. So, Katrina, is there anyone in the virtual waiting room that we're not seeing?
No, Your Honor.
How about the rest of the courthouse?
Looking now, Your Honor.
You have one person in the courtroom, but he is for a different case. All right.
Looking now, Your Honor. The only people that are currently here are at a window being helped.
All right. Today is the time and date set for the hearing. It looks as if this is for both money judgment as well as possession judgment. Is that correct, Mr. Phillips?
That is correct, Your Honor.
So the notice given by personal service on May the 3rd. The time set for today's hearing was at 1 o'clock. The time is 1:09. The defendant has failed to appear. What is the amount of rent to retain possession?
And if I may, Your Honor, I just should give a quick update to the court, if I may.
Sure.
I just wanted the court to know this is, I think, our third hearing technically with Mr. Josling. He did appear to the very first hearings, as the court might know, and he met with the legal services attorney, Miss Millink. And since that time, he's become a bit of a no-show. I've actually been working kind of hand in hand with Miss Millink I think she's certainly done her due diligence, and I'd like to think that I've done mine. We've kind of gone out of our way to try to reach him via letters and phone calls and emails. And I spoke with the landlord as recently as yesterday. We're just not sure what's going on. Perhaps he's moved on, but nobody from any angle can seem to reach him at this point. And so we've kind of tried our best to. And certainly, if he surfaces, prior to the deadlines, we'd still be willing to work with him if he could get the Sarah applications going. And I think Amy said the same thing, that she would work with him if he surfaces. But at this point, I guess he's kind of left us no choice but to request the default today. Okay.
What is the amount to retain possession then?
The possession judgment amount is in the amount of rent in the amount of $2,235. Court costs today about $212.68 for a total possession judgment of $2,447.68. And the money judgment portion, which I've prorated to today's date, would be in the amount of $2,095. Same court cost of $212.68 for a total money judgment portion of $2,307.68. with the writ to issue on or after July 5th of 21.
All right. And unfortunately, there'll have to be July 6th because the courts are closed on July 5th for the July 4th holiday. All right.
No problem.
The defendant in this case was personally served initially. There was a pretrial, and then pursuant to the Supreme Court Order 2017, we waited until after 45 days. The plaintiff has not received the money or the funding. There's actually a presumption to the court to stay only if made known by the defendant that he's seeking assistance. We set it up so that we do a status conference 28 days afterwards to allow additional days for the tenant to still apply for funds. The defendant has failed to appear at the last two hearings. There comes a time where the court must issue a default, and the defendant in this case has earned the default. There will be a default judgment in the amount of $2,235 plus $110 filing fee, $27.68 service fee, $75 statutory attorney fee. Total court cost $212.68. Total possession judgment $2,447.68. Writ date is July 6th due to the July 4th holiday being on the 5th this year. And for the money judgment, it would be $2,095 plus the same court cost of $212.68. Money judgment amount $2,307.68. I will sign that order once it's been presented to me. We'll be adjourned on this case.
Please go ahead and mail that as well.
Next, Mr. Thompson, is your client still is not connected yet? It doesn't look like.
No, we're gonna have him try and dial in because his computer just doesn't seem to be working. Or
Well,
I just got a message from my assistant saying he thinks it's working now.
all right. Well, I still have another case or two that I can call, so I'll go ahead and do that until we see him coming in. The next case is Gerald Burton versus Lisa Metzger. This is file 21-232885LT. Mr. Burton, looks like you're on the phone today, so if you would hit *6 and unmute yourself. And then Katrina, I'll ask to see if Ms. Metzger has appeared. Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name for the record.
We're in court.
Gerald Burton, say your name.
Yeah, Gerald Burton.
All right. Katrina, is Ms. Metzger in the virtual waiting room?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anyone else in the lobby or hallways that could be Ms. Metzger?
I am looking right now, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right. Today's time and date set for summary proceedings action. Looks like the defendant did appear on the May 12th at the hearing. It was given the other notice dates. This is for a non-payment of rent. Mr. Burton, it looks like you're looking for a money judgment as well as a possession judgment. What is the amount of rent to retain possession?
$32.50.
$3,250 plus $130 filing fee. It doesn't look as if there was any service fee that was added. So,
$26.60.
say that number again, please.
$26.60.
$26.60. Wakila, did we get any notification from the process server on that one?
I'm checking it out right now.
All right. And then how much for the money judgment, Mr. Burton?
31.20.
All right.
With the I'm not going to make an issue about the service fee. If you want to drop it, that's fine with me.
Okay. Wakila, were you able to find anything from the process server?
No, I do not. I actually don't even think I have proof of service on this case.
Well,
She
she
was
did
there
appear at the
before.
last hearing.
Okay, well, she must have just showed up from the first class mailing. And then since she showed up, we went ahead and we kept it on the docket. So yeah, I don't have proof of service on our end.
Do you have any documentation, Mr. Burton, regarding from your process server?
I don't have it in front of me. I don't know. She was there
Could-
personally.
She was here personally.
Yeah.
It did know about the hearing. I'm going to grant the default. The defendant did not appear. The amount is to be $32.50 plus the $130 filing fee. So the money judgment, possession judgment is $33.80, and the money judgment will be $32.50. The writ date will be July 6th. The courts are closed on the 5th. So July 6th will be the writ date. We'll be adjourned on this case.
July 6th.
July 6th.
July 6th is the
That's
date.
the writ date.
The writ date.
That's, yes. All right,
Okay.
thank you. We'll be adjourned on that file. We're now calling the case, Mr. Roman, why don't you come on up? This is the case of Jim and Janet Roman versus Brianna Dell, file 21-23310LT. Sir, why don't you come on up to one of the two tables? Doesn't matter which one. Is the monitor on that computer?
Yeah,
That one on?
there's a red light. there.
There's a little button on the lower right-hand corner. If you could push it, and it should pull up.
Your Honor, I did turn it on.
She says a little red light. Can you see all the faces on the computer monitoring screen?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes, Your
It's
Honor.
all set. Then you state your name for the record.
Jim Roman.
All right. Katrina, is Brianna Dell in the virtual waiting room?
No, Your Honor.
There's no one else but Mr. Roman and myself in the courtroom. I don't see anyone in the hallways.
No, Your
Magistrate
Honor.
Ladwick's courtroom, just him. I don't see anyone walking up to the courthouse. There's one person that's at the criminal window, so I doubt that that would be Ms. Dallas. Today is the time and date set for the termination hearing in this case. Mr. Roman, it looks as if you were asking for money judgment amount. How much is the request for the money judgment amount?
$5,115.48.
Did you include your service and fees and your?
Yes.
You did. So I need to reduce that by $175.48. All right. 5. So if I back that out, it'd be $49.40 as far as just the rents. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. The defendant was personally served on June 1st. Time is supposed to be 1 o'clock. It is now 1:18. The defendant has failed to appear. I will grant a possession judgment, termination by default, as well as a money judgment. The money judgment amount is $4,940 plus $110 for the filing fee, $65.48 for the service fee, $175.48 cost. Total amount of the money judgment, $5,115.48. We just had to break it down differently is all. It's the same amount that you were requesting. It just broke down a little bit differently. The writ date is July the 6th. I will sign that order once it's presented to me. We'll be adjourned. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
What's the date?
July 6th.
That's when
So
I can take possession?
yes, you may take possession on July 6th. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Or seek assistance from the seeker writ to get possession if she's still in there.
They have moved out.
They've
Your
moved
Honor.
out. All right,
Yeah.
and we're all set. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Any word, Mr. Thompson, from your client?
You should be dialing in momentarily, Your Honor. We had to locate the dial-in information. He had the electronic login information, but he now has the
Slightly different.
dial-in information and should be dialing in any moment. Thank you for your patience. And
No, we have other cases we're working on, so it does not an issue. Trina, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here in court.
They're logged in, Your Honor. They just came in.
Okay. And I'll restart the recording.
I have a phone number ending in 0383. Could you tell me your name, please?
David Bradley.
That's who you're expecting, Mr. Thompson?
That is who I was expecting, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, recalling case of Maple Grove Manufactured Home Community versus Gary Bezetsky, file 21-23306LT. Attorney for plaintiff, please identify yourself for the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Andrew Thompson on behalf of the plaintiff. With us by phone is the principal of the plaintiff, David Bradley.
All right, and Mr. Bezetsky, please state your name for the record.
Gary Bezetsky.
And it says in Shannon is who's Shannon?
As well.
You're a tenant there as well?
No, I'm his daughter. He's at my
Okay.
house.
I see. Okay. And Mr. Bezetsky, are you representing yourself, or are you planning on? Had you reached out to Legal Services of Eastern Michigan, or hire an attorney to help you in this?
Yeah, yes, I have reached out to Free Legal Aid, and my understanding is that the ownership of the trailer, I have said rights that it's possible that I could continue to pay the rent for 90 days, except I will not be able to reside there as to decide what I'm going to do with the trailer.
Ah, okay. So they explained the law to you is what is probably what happened.
Yeah, that's how
Okay.
she really.
All right. So
And
you're
Gary,
representing
don't
yourself.
worry about the trailer.
Okay, hang on just a second. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this is the just cause termination. So Mr. Thompson, would you please, it looks like you're asking for a money judgment as well. Would you state the amount?
Yes, Your Honor. The amount of rent the amount of rent that would be sought for the money judgment totals $2,595.83 with, hold on a sec, that number doesn't sound right to me. Let me check something, Your Honor. I am looking at the wrong spreadsheet. My apologies. Yes, rent through the writ date, or rent through the writ date, Your Honor, of July 5th or July 6th would be $2,595.83 with court costs of $283.73 for a total amount of the money judgment sought of $2,834.56. The writ date would be July 6th, and then Mr. Bezetsky would have through 90 days after the judgment to actually remove the mobile home from the property.
All right. Mr. Bezetsky, it was been alleged that over the course of the last year that there's been more than 3 occasions for which you were behind in rent, and they sent you notices at least 3 times saying you're behind in rent. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. The amount of money that's alleged, $2,595.83. Does that sound correct to you, or approximately correct to you?
Yes, by now that would be correct.
Okay. So is there any reason I shouldn't grant the mobile home park the right to eventually get the site back?
Well, I guess, yeah, I'm the one that didn't pay the rent, and he should get it back. But point is there's criminal activity going on in that park, and he drove me into relapse, the mental illness. I was doing okay for a while, and he literally stressed me to the point of relapse. I had to be petitioned. It would have been on the 1st of this month, a day before I was supposed to appear in front of you. I was petitioned, and I'm sitting in the hospital ever since because someone thought I'm going through a relapse, and that would be my daughter. And if that's how she feels, then maybe she's right. But he's been really, there's a lot of criminal activity going on in that park, and it's all aimed at me. And yeah, he drove me into a relapse because I'm certain, I don't know if he called it, but I'm certain he condoned it. I was home invaded, armed on the 2nd of 2019. And yeah, sent me into a relapse. And he's been stalking me since childhood. That's all there is to it. And I believe I have a cause of why. I mean, I can only suspect. I don't know what they're thinking, but
Who is it that you're saying has been stalking you since childhood?
Bradley and a few other kids was a child.
Did you grow up with Mr. Bradley?
No, but he had turned out to be an acquaintance of a friend of mine at the time. And what ended up happening during that period is very unfortunate, but it had to happen. It was just a wrongful death of John Bannis. And I believe that's why they're on my ass ever since.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of testimony, Mr. Thompson, if we could, please.
All right.
Mr. Bradley, would you please raise your right hand and let me know when your hand is raised?
My hand is raised.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, you put your hand down now. Mr. Thompson, I don't think there's a disagreement regarding the $2,595.83. There is the question as to whether or not there's continued criminal activity and some wrongdoing on behalf of Mr. Bradley, if you would like to question him regarding those circumstances.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bradley. Could you please identify yourself for the court, please?
Yeah, David Bradley, owner of Maple Grove.
Okay. And are you familiar with Mr. Bizdesky?
Yes, I am.
And when did you first meet Mr. Bizdesky?
Oh, I don't know this. I knew of him when I bought the park in October of '09. You know, I knew the name, and I don't remember when I was face to face with him after that, but it probably wasn't too long after that.
Had you met him prior to your ownership of the park?
No, never heard of him.
And was he a resident of the park when you purchased the park?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware of any criminal activity that has happened in the park?
I am not. And, you know, I would certainly put my foot down if there was. And I think you'll find that any activity that has been odd, I have addressed. So I think our local police department will certainly attest to that. So,
were you aware of any home invasions or burglaries at Mr. Bizdecky's residence?
No, I was not.
Did you receive any reports of that sort of event?
No, I did not.
And what has been your interactions with Mr. Bizdecky up to this point?
Oh, it's been very minimal, but, you know, I would see him, not necessarily, I don't think I've ever knocked on his door, but when I see him out, I say, Gary, can you get that yard cleaned up? Can you get that yard picked up for me? You know, and that would be just a gentle nudge. And then I saw him just prior to this case, and I said, Gary, you know, because we've sent him notices, late notices and so forth, but, you know, I was a little reluctant to go to the door for a lot of reasons, but I saw him on the street and I said, Gary, you know, you got to do something with your wrench. You know, you're leaving me no alternative. And I don't remember what he said as he drove away on, I think it was his 3-wheel motorbike or something. But, you know, I've had very little activity with him or, you know, confrontations or communication for that matter.
And how many, he's acknowledged that he's made late payments of rent. How many months were late before you elected to file this action?
Well, whatever he owes us. So he got quite far behind, you know, $2,500 at $250 a month or $275 a month. That's quite a few months, you know. But with COVID, we couldn't do much and so forth. And, you know, so when we were able to do that, we filed action. So.
Okay. Your Honor,
his water bill was way overdue and a big water bill, but, you know, I was very pleased to see him get that paid, you know, and I thought, well, that maybe, you know, he's got some money coming in or something, but nothing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Bezecki, do you have any questions for Mr. Bradley?
Why is it he didn't mention a COVID relief plan to me at all? He must have known what I'm going through. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but he never mentioned the program that I applied for. And why allow me to get so far behind when any other time I'm 30 days late immediately?
Hang on. There's a difference between a statement and a question. So if you want to make a statement, that's fine. I'll put you under oath and you can make your statement. But do you have any questions for Mr. Bradley?
Is this
Hey, Gary.
production?
Hey, Gary.
Yes. Yes.
If you're not going to ask me a question, I would like to make a comment to you. You are welcome to stay in Maple Grove, and there's nobody against you. There's nothing going on that of anybody that's going to do any harm to you or invade your house. You're welcome to stay, but you got to pay the rent, Gary.
It's not a matter.
We've got nothing against you.
Okay. Hang on, Mr. Bradley. We got to follow a little bit of decorum regarding questions and answers.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So that's all right. Mr. Bezecki, do you wish to make a statement?
Yes.
All right. Raise your right hand. We're going to put you under oath.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead. Make your statement, and then I'll let Mr. Thompson ask any questions if he wishes.
Okay. When he purchased the park, I didn't know who he was or anything like that. In my opinion, it would have been the first time I've ever seen him in my life also, because the last time I would have seen him, I would have only been 15 years old. But his introduction took me back to a moment in time of 1990 of who he actually thought I was, but that's not who I am. He already knew who I was. He's mentioning a name that takes me right back to 1990, a fellow coworker, which kind of ties him into all that happened to me in Detroit between the year of 1989 and 1990. Now, there was a serious event went on, and I am that person, the victim of it. And they've been haunting me with it, following me, stalking me with that ever since. But I would like to say I was 24 at that time, way back when I'm 17 years old, the wrongful death of John Bannis. That's when it really began with them to hold me down, because that whole thing was just what ended up happening there, in my opinion, was just one great big farce, because I'm the only one who didn't show up. So I'm the only one who got held in contempt. And the reason I didn't show up, I didn't want to relive the event.
Okay.
And I feel that David Barushko, it would have been a friend of his anyways, whatever. And he's at office working for him right now. And this has been, in all reality, in my opinion, Dave Barushko in my life has been missing for almost 40 years now. And I didn't bother to call the police or his mother. So, the only reason I'm recognizing these people, I do have amnesia, but if they talk to me, I can place them in my life. And it's just, if it keeps screaming at me, I only know it's the truth.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Thompson, any questions for Mr. Bezecki?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I do find that the sufficient proofs were submitted to the court to meet the justified just cause termination. There is a money judgment amount of $2,595.83 plus $283.73 in court costs, meaning a money judgment of $2,834.56. Mr. Bezecki, you have the right to stay in the mobile home until July 6th. After July 6th, you can't stay there, but your mobile home has up to 90 days after the judgment date for you to figure it out, or you could decide to sell it. Maybe Mr. Bradley has somebody that could help, be able to purchase it, if that being the case. But you can't stay there, but your mobile home has up to 90 days.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Thompson,
excuse me.
I think we're all set in this case. So, Mr. Thompson, if you would forward the judgment,
Can I say something? Can I say something?
It depends if your attorney wishes for you. It depends if your attorney wishes for you to do that, Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley, we're wrapped up here, so we'll go ahead and just close up now.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
We'll be on this case. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll forward the order.
Thank you.